Hi, today we're going to find a point P on AB such that when we take the distance from A to P here and divide it by the distance from B to P here, we'll get 2. Now, there's a couple of things that we need to do first. First of all, I'd like to simplify this. Okay, so if I write AP over BP and it equals 2, I can multiply both sides by BP and find out that AP, this space, I'll write over it in purple, or I guess that's blue. I'll write over it in purple. This length, which is AP, is twice the length of BP. So it's twice the green length here. Now, there's something else we know about in geometry. It's called segment addition. And it says that this whole segment is equal to its two pieces, the purple one, which is AP, plus the green one, which is P to B, but I'm going to call it BP because that's what we call it everywhere else. But I know that AP equals twice BP because I found that right here because they told it to us right here. I can replace this with 2BP. And so now what I have is that the whole length AB is 3 BPs. But a more useful thing would be to divide by 3 and get that BP, divide this by 3, divide this by 3, is just 1/3 of the length of AB.
Please pardon the interruption. The sophomore volleyball game fundraiser for tomorrow has been canceled. Again, the sophomore volleyball game fundraiser scheduled for tomorrow has been canceled.
And also because AP equals... sorry. So AP is twice BP, which means that AP is 2 times 1/3 of AB, or it's 2/3 of AB. Now, that's really helpful because it tells us we could take AB and cut it into 3 equal pieces where this is 1/3 of AB and this is 1/3 of AB and this is 1/3 of AB. Or combining these, I could say that this whole purple one here is 2/3 of AB. Now, we could do this. We could put P right here and call it XY, and then realize that this line has an equation, y equals 3/2 x, and then use that for P. Instead of saying XY, we could say X and then 3/2 x, and then we could do the distance formula with a whole lot of algebra and solve it using the distance from P to A, which would be x minus 2 squared plus 3/2 x minus 3 squared, and take the square root, and then do the same here. And it can be done, but it's a mess. So here's what I would like to propose instead. If you look at this in terms of, I want a line, I want it dashed, just my x's. So my x's are only 2 units long. They start from 2 and go to 4. And I know that I need to be 2/3 of the way from here to here, which means that my x has to be 2/3 of the way across here. So if I take this 2 and I add 2/3 to it, 2/3 of 2 to it, right? Because it's 2 all the way across, and I want to get 2/3. What I get is 2 plus 4/3, which is, in common denominators, is 6/3 plus 4/3, which gives me 10/3. And I believe that is the x-coordinate of P, which is 3 1/3 right here. Now, if I look at just the y, if I look at just the y's, let's come over here. Y goes from 6, or from 3 to 6, which makes y, this is 3 units from here to here. So if I took 2/3 of that and just started here at my 3 and added 2/3 of the y distance, I would get to 5, which means I think that the y component should be 5. Now, here's what we need to do to check. I know that AB over BP should be 2. So, if I find the length of AP first, which is 10/3 minus 2, it's going to be the square root of 10/3 minus 2 squared plus 5 minus 3 squared, and that gives me I got that minus 2, and then square it, and then add 4, and then take the square root. That gives me 2 times the square root of 13 over 3, and BP then is the square root of 4 minus 10/3 squared plus 6 minus 5 squared, and that equals 4 minus 10/3 squared plus 1, and then take the square root, and I get the square root of 13 over 3. Now the question is, if I do this ratio, what do I get? Well, keep, switch, flip. This is multiplied by 3 over the square root of 13 and makes it gone down here. These cancel, and I get 2. So we have shown that this is the correct P with x coordinate 10/3 and y coordinate 5. Probably I should have written down here that this is 2 units in x from here to here. And that's why we went 2/3 times 2. Anyway, the correct answer is point P is at 10/3, comma 5.